host, Marla Goldberg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening platform. And here we go, on to the show. Hello. How are you doing today? It's me, Marla Goldberg, and I'm here on Guided Spirit Conversations to bring you an amazing guest. Today's guest is Edvante Showers. So if you've listened to my promos, you know Edvante and I are friends, and I'm bringing him on because it's spirituality, but not metaphysical. But that's okay because our beliefs are the same, and we want to share them with you because not every shoe fits in the same. Not every foot fits in the same shoe. So, Edvante, I just want to read you about him. He is one of the most prolific communicators of our day. He is on a mission to help as many people as possible become their best selves while doing their best work. As he likes to say, dream big, anything is possible. Edvante is known for being a charismatic leader from the spiritual conviction, moral aptitude, and old-fashioned wisdom that cultivates transformation for the next generation of leaders. Speaker, entrepreneur, coach, author, Edvante specializes in helping others self-optimize without self-destructing. He acquired his passion to add value to the lives of others. Edvante serves on multiple community boards across Louisiana, and his philanthropic endeavors have helped thousands across the world. With over 10 years of leadership experience, Edvante understands that the right information can cause a comprehensive revolution. And here he is, Edvante Jones. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? Delighted to be here.
I am so excited you're finally on the show. In the promos, I was talking about how I met you in October, and we were talking, the usual business stuff until you found out what I do. And then the conversation shifted, and there's so much synchronicity between us.
Amazing. I'm so
Amazing.
glad.
I am too. I'm so glad you sat next to me. So thank you for that.
The restaurant turned into an amazing gig, right? It turned into something amazing, a great relationship. And I'm honored. Like, I am super delighted that you even chose me, right? Every opportunity, I don't think is a God opportunity, but I see this one as one that is pregnant with the potential to produce something great. So I'm super honored that you have chosen me to be here.
Well, I'm grateful that you are here with me. I'm grateful that we met because, it just, what you have done, not that I'm not open because I feel I am open, but you gave me a vision into your way and how, we both came from dysfunctional backgrounds and you had a
Absolutely.
choice to make. You could have gone down the path of least resistance or you could have listened to your guidance and you did what?
I made the crazy decision to follow the crazy voice in my head and take the path that's less chosen.
Exactly. But look at what you have done for so many, not just yourself and your family, but for so many. And I don't know in which order it happened, but I know there's the entrepreneurial area. You've started a ministry. You are doing philanthropic works in South Africa. It goes on and on and on. And you're just, with all due respect, and this is not patronizing or condescending, but to me, you're a young man who is just conquering the world.
Listen, I am so honored that people see me as that, right? I believe in that humble stage, but the way we're conquering the world is through partnership. One thing I mentioned offline is that, hey, there's power in partnerships, and I would encourage anyone who's listening, like, never try to do anything alone. Life is not even designed to do alone. If you read the King James version of the Bible, like me, which you got to be crazy to do, it says when he made man, he said it's not good for man to be alone, which means that, hey, should be functioning together in partnership so that we can form something collaboratively that can change the world. I want to be a part of a number of people that is willing and ready to flip the world upside down.
And is open and trusts what's going on is what my feel. That's what I'm hearing. So I'm sort of like putting a little bit of sprinkle on what you've just said.
I love that.
A little sprinkle. So let's tell everybody, let's start at your beginning and then we'll move into your journey because I feel that there's so many people who have had challenges like you, challenges like me, and yet here we are. Yeah, being of service to help others.
And one of the biggest things that I think I do is we believe in helping people, right? That everything that I do is not about me. My whole life has been consistent and alignment with serving others, right? So any on the entrepreneurial side, I'm serving someone. In the ministry and the philanthropy side, I'm serving someone. And you must understand, I tell people this all the time, that your most successful people, they value impact over income, relationship over revenue, and people over profit. And when you can conquer those things, then you can win in so many areas because it becomes bigger than you. The vision is bigger than you. The dream is bigger than you. Any dream that you're trying to do by yourself will never work. You never go as far as your dream. Dr. Darius Daniels told me that. You never go as far as your dream. You only go as far as your team. And when you can build a great team, you can conquer anything.
We can, but I still want to go back to your childhood and, how your path uh, was created because, again, you had, like many of us, a challenging upbringing.
Yeah, so stuff that didn't talk about or didn't never talked about until I kind of got older, which is found in my book, All Things Are Possible. But I was young. I was sexually molested at the age of 9. I never told my parents that I was 25 years old. I was inside of a crazy household. Grew up with a mom, and at that time, an abusive stepdad that kind of raised me and. My life was kind of in shambles, and I had to make the ultimate decision to come from where I was to be able to step into a place of success. And I grew up without my real father. Didn't meet him till I was 16. I spent my entire life trying to please someone who was never there. I fought for my father's attention, knowing that I may never knew who he was. I did meet him later on in life when I was 16. Saw him again when I was 18, and he was dying of prostate cancer. He died back in 2009, and it taught me this lesson. It taught me how to live, that sometimes you're in a position to live with the pain of people absence versus the consequence of their presence. And it was one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn in life, that how could I, who tried to do well, right, to be morally correct, not have the things that I long for from anyone. And so it caused other inadequacies or insecurities that I had to fight through later in life to become who I am. So my whole life, I spent my life competing against no one in a lane by myself. So and that's what it forced me to. And what I end up doing is I had to find me. One of my biggest statements I say, and it's actually written in my new book, is that your evolution and advancement is found in your ability to be authentic to yourself. So I learned how to be authentic to who I was and discover my own purpose, my own drive, my own will, my own know-how, so that I can develop, grow, and become the person I am today.
And you also created and found what made your heart sing, and in my opinion, from knowing you, and you found what made your heart sing, which is to be of service. And you used that as a springboard into all the different directions that you're now in.
Oh my gosh, every direction, right?
You're like a firework. So the vision that came to me is, 4th of July, and you have those really pretty ones that just go everywhere and they sprinkle down. That's what you remind me of.
Oh man, thank you. I
That's
hope
what
it's the
I'm
pretty ones.
getting.
I hope it's the real nice looking ones, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely the nice looking ones. The real sparkly ones, you've got to have the sparkle, and you have the sparkle. And so, um, but what other challenging experiences? Because so many people, you coach so many people in your coaching business. What do you find is the common thread that your clients have that because they come to you for the help?
So in the on the coaching side, and kind of based upon if it's a corporation or individual that we're coaching, I'm finding that people have no individuality. They've lost sight of who they are based upon trying to maneuver their life the culture's way. I want to be on the big screen. I want to have the television show. I want, and they model themselves. And I find that people who will send me, hey, I want to start this the business, I want to develop it, but I need it to look like this. Well, this is their brand and they've worked for this. This is not your brand. So you have to find something that fits you. And that's a part of discovering who you are. And I find that in large companies, small companies, and individuals, that they see a picture of it and not use it as inspiration and information, but as in aspect, they only use it as a spot of where they should become. And that is not the goal, to become like someone else. You'll spend your life, and this is I hope that who's ever watching, I know there's people online, and some of you I know from Ohio and different places that I know you guys that have tuned in. And I want you guys to understand this, that you will spend your life competing in a race with someone who don't even know they're in the race with you, and you're
Exactly.
losing a race and don't even know, nobody even know you're competing.
And not only that, when you start trying to, if I may, when you start trying to be somebody else because of some, like a Kardashian, for example, well, that takes away the authenticity of the brilliant, bright light you are inside. So don't be somebody else, be you.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's it. I mean, and what I talk to my clients about is when you find out where your heart is singing, then you can follow that because it brings you joy. And that's where your authenticity is going to come. That's where all of these gifts that you've received because you decided to become Edvante Showers and no one else. And you stayed in your lane, but look at what you've been able to create staying in your lane. It's phenomenal.
And staying in your lane will actually help you discover your purpose. Like, you want to live a what Ricky called a purpose driven life, right? Your life have to be driven by purpose versus driven by perspective. So
It's true. But so many people have fears about everything. You know, they fear that they're not going to be accepted. They fear they're going to be rejected. They're fearing of success. And you have a way of talking to people about getting through their fears, overcoming their fears.
yes, I love that. Right. So fear, right? Everybody use the acronym false evidence that appear real, right? It's
Mhm.
actually just a form or false evidence that appear real. If you spend your time living in fear, you'll never make the first step of stepping into your purpose, into your assignment. Because fear will always make you feel inadequate. The first thing, if we even use biblical references, the first thing that the enemy fought Eve with was who she was and her identity. He tried to place fear in her. He said, if you eat this fruit, it will make you like God. Well, it's not going to make me like God because God already created me in his likeness and his image. So you're trying to fight me with my own inadequacies, not knowing that this is who I already am. I just got to birth it out. It just got to exude from me.
And I love that. It's so true. I talk about that's in Genesis. I think it's like page 5, where they talk about how we're all made in the likeness of God. So my whole thing is if God is in each and every one of us, why do we need to go outside God?
There's nothing that is going to be found outside of him. I've learned by being in kingdom, and people are like, oh, you only say that because you're a pastor. If I was absolutely not a pastor, my faith is what have gotten me here. I would tell people, if anybody asks me, and I know I'm kind of going away from the original question, but if anybody asks me what got me here, there are two things that I'll tell you got me here. It is the grace of God, and it is great mentorship. There were people who poured, developed into my life that pushed me to be able to get here. If you don't have a mentorship, you lack speed.
I agree with you, but the third part, which I think is the most important part of that recipe, is the person, which would be you. Because if you weren't you and you didn't A, go for help, and B, didn't listen to the help and trust and allow it to happen, it wouldn't happen. So you've got to add in my opinion. So let me say this. In my opinion, you have to add the person in there because without you, it's not a full recipe. It's like you're
Yeah.
leaving out the main ingredient.
Yeah, and this is why people need coaches, right? This is why they need mentors and coaches and people to be able to pour into them, because this is my whole thing. I don't sell people my product. I have great pride, I believe that the courses are great, the product are great. I don't sell people product. I sell people them. I want you to become the best form of you so that you can make quantum leaps in your life. So my goal is to sell you you. I want to get you to bet on yourself every day. Because if nobody else is going to bet on me, I'm going to bet on me. If nobody's going to pour in me, develop in me, I'm going to develop me so that I can run the strategy, run the play, right? Mentors give you speed, coaches give you strategy.
I'm still going to go back to the fear because if even if you're working with a mentor or coach and you're stuck in your fear-based place,
Yep.
you're still stuck. So how do you get past or overcome? I call it the veil of fear because it's just a veil. It's not real. You're worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet, like being successful.
Yep. And I kind of tell, I'm going to tell you guys a personal story. I had a real breakdown because of fear. And I'm saying that I had a real mental lapse of a breakdown to the point where I probably should have been admitted into a mental institution because I was losing me and I was going crazy and I was doing it privately. So publicly, I wore the mask and had the face that, oh, everything is all together. This is well put together. And I wanted to be this picture perfect person. But I completely lost me and to the point where I almost had a panic attack, like literally just lost my complete mindset. And it was because I was afraid to be simply who God called me to be. I was fighting the battle of becoming great, not for other people, but becoming great for myself. Because people think that when you believe in you, then you are arrogant. Well, arrogance kills dreams, but inadequacies will kill assignments. And and so when you allow both of those things to die, you completely lose everything about you, and every gift, every talent that's on the inside of you is lost because you are afraid to be great. The writer said, what is your deepest fear? It's not that you're inadequate, but it's that you're powerful beyond measure. It is in your light, not your darkness, that most frightens us.
It is so true. I love that. It's so true because that is where you get, shake on shaky ground. So let's go back to you though, and a challenging experience that ended up changing your life. Can you share at least one of those stories?
Yes. So I had a aha moment. One time I was sitting at a table, and I'll never forget this, and I won't name drop, but I was sitting at a table with guys who were considered fairly wealthy, and I was probably the poorest person at the table then. Uh, but I was sitting at the table, and the gentleman walked to the table, and we paid really good money to this table. And the gentleman walked to the table and said, "If you're still in the same tax bracket that you are now next year, I don't want you here."
Wow.
And thinking that people paid real significant amount of money to have dinner with this guy, and that was the only thing that he said the entire time. It challenged me and changed my mindset, even though it sounded crazy, because along at that table there was another incident where a gentleman ate with the wrong fork and lost about a $40 million contract simply for eating with the wrong fork. The guy responded to him and said, "If you don't know what fork to eat with, why should I trust you with my money?"
I love that you bring that up. I know there's more to your story, but I have to interject because I'd like to address this more when you're done with your story because it's really important. But go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
And when he did that, it made I had to make up in my mind that I had to become a better version of me. Because if I'm going to be in these rooms, if I want to sit at these tables, I need to know what fork to eat with. And it wasn't me that didn't know what fork to eat with, but I needed etiquette skills. And so I think that people have gifts, but they fail to get skill, right? You're no good if you don't have the skill to go along with it, to coach it, develop it, and move it along. And so that was my aha moment, that I wanted to become better in every aspect of my life, to understand that if I start valuing the small things and get those right, then the big things will fall in place. So
It's so true. And I've got to share with you, I know that when I was raising my children, I would always say people will look at your shoes, they'll look at your table manners. And if you want to get ahead in life, you need to understand how to behave in the appropriate setting. And a lot of people go, I'm fine the way I am. Well, if you find the way you are, you're going to stay where you are. If you don't want to better yourself and hone your skills personally or professionally, then that will give you more of a catalyst, a springboard to move forward than if you stay with your, excuse me, scruffy shoes or your elbows on the table or using the wrong fork. You can lose a $40 million deal.
yeah, and so I've been around you, with friends, and I know like you spoke at Yale and you was at USC recently, and you were doing some things, and we were sitting at the table. We were having dinner at this restaurant, and and your husband was there, and he was laughing, and I was telling him, I was like, I eat properly in these settings because I've seen deals lost because of this. And I mean, your husband is an amazing entrepreneur with what
Oh,
he
thank
does,
you.
and that's my guy there. That's my buddy. I got it. But but even in the settings that I'm in, I've learned that you need skill. I'm a speaker, but a speaker without information is a failed and wasted gift. So I got to develop my skill of speaking by creating a framework. And this is something that I teach in one of my coaching courses, is how you got to develop. There's a framework for everything. There's a framework for entire situations. One of the biggest things that I talk about, and now I know we're going to kind of move to my courses, but your head, your heart, and your hands, right? Your head develops the situation. The situation is what facts. Your thoughts is what you think about the facts, and then those thoughts actually produce feelings, and those feelings produce behaviors that create outcomes. And so if you want to see your life fall apart, it starts with your mindset, where you think, right? You have your mind, which creates your mindset. Those mindsets actually sees what's factual, which is the situation, and then those thoughts is where the failure comes. It's what you think about the situation, what you think about you, how do you see it, right? So for example, if somebody's listening, I'm hoping that it's helping you, is this, that hey, I had a car wreck. So my mind is that I lost my car. So my thought about it is I'm going to lose my job. My kids are not going to be able to eat because I lost my job, which then creates those feelings. And those feelings cause me to shut down relationally, which create behaviors, which actually kind of we overanalyze there. And so it creates behaviors in the home. Maybe you shut down intimacy because of how you feel. So now the spouses have a conflict, which now produce outcomes that can completely lead to divorce. But it all started with, I simply had a car wreck. And those are not the outcomes or results you want. So I have a, hey, it starts in the head, then it gets into your heart. Your heart is going to be what's postured to be able to change those thoughts, and then your hands are what's going to do the work to create the real outcomes of what you do. So it's a whole framework that I use for it, but just kind of.
I love it. It's great. And here's the thing, and from my perspective, energy flows where thoughts go. So if your thoughts are negative, energy is going to bring you more of what you think about. That's why it's so important to change the way you think in these circumstances and situations, in every circumstance and situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it ties in with what you're talking about because you can be your own best friend or your own worst enemy just by what's going on in your mind.
Yep, and it starts with your mind, right? So most guys who are what we view as successful, they'll always talk about mindset. Miles Monroe has a great thing about creating the kingdom mindset. My good friend, who is an amazing entrepreneur, Rashard Henry, has this thing called the bulletproof mindset, that if you fail to grow in your mind, then you'll fail to grow in your pocket. So it's one of those things. And if you want to create that bulletproof mindset, you have to figure out how to conceptualize what is actually taking place.
So do you feel that as you're coaching people, that they're also starting to do some internal healing because they're now becoming more aware of who they are, self-confidence, self-esteem grows? Would I mean that's how I'm feeling about what you do with your clients.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier, I sell you on you, right? So the way you build your self-esteem is by learning to value yourself, creating boundaries, right? It's not for me, it's not about what I can say yes to, it's the opportunities that I have, to the ability to say no to. Because when you can learn how to say no to certain things, it changes your self-esteem because it lets you know your value increase. I look at it like this: there is one of me. I get, I don't know, maybe 400 to 500 invitations a year to do different things, whether it's in the church arena or the ministry arena or any speaking arena or even going to sites and stuff like that. So I get all these engagement. So it's a dilemma, what we call in the business world, supply and demand. It's one of me. So what I demand is a certain number, and so it shouldn't offend you because I'm the supply and I'm unfortunately in demand. So my value changed based upon the level of my demand.
I need to change it. It's not unfortunately you're in demand, but fortunately you're in demand. Sorry, I
Yeah,
listen to y'all. And it's a fortunate thing you're in demand because if you weren't sharing what other people need or want or desire, you wouldn't have the audience, but you do, and you're able to break it down in bite-sized, digestible ways that people don't get overwhelmed. You're not overwhelming people with buzzwords or any of that stuff. You're dealing with real analogies, real concepts, and I love how you share that.
absolutely. And that's what we want, right? We want you to discover the real you.
Well, yeah, that's the authenticity. And so now you said you mentioned a couple of these programs that you have, these coaching programs. How many different coaching programs do you have?
So technically we only run five, right? And we're actually
Only
going,
five.
yeah. And so one of the and they're kind of split. Some of them are on the personal side, and then some of them are for corporations, right? So on the personal side, many people are not going to take a diversity, equality, and inclusion class, right? That's a corporate thing that they're going to want. But teaching people how to foster trust within their team, how to properly cast vision, how to get people to actually buy into the vision, right? Because you never sell people a product. You got to sell you because people are invested into you. So learning how to foster that trust and properly cast that vision so that people would want to see you as something to invest in. So I have different coaching programs that many people take on different sides. So based upon what side you're on, it's like, okay, this is where you need to be, or this maybe you need to be in the freshman year of bulletproof mindset, or maybe you need, all these different things. So
It's not stupid. They're very helpful. So they're very, very helpful things. So you have a new coaching program called Hope Room. Let's talk about briefly, because I know we're going to talk about it with the charity shout out,
yeah.
but the Hope Room is a not for profit. And what do you do in the Hope Room?
So all of my Hope Room people who are on, what's up? I love all of Hope Room. They are the craziest, loudest, funnest people. I mean, oh my God. Yes, you see, I'm super excited about Hope Room because they are people who are near and dear to my heart. It's a new program that we started, and it is teaching people, one, how to discover and become self-aware of where they are, but most of all is rolling people into a business development program. So I have a group of people who are inspiring to be entrepreneurs at whatever level that they're on. And what we do through the Hope Room is we bring them together. It's a great networking mixer, but most of all, we teach people how to be philanthropic through their business. So one of the things is I believe in having a kingdom mindset, that money don't just flow to me, but it flows through me. So because of that, my Hope Room people will tell you we're on our legacy run. So this is about building something that is so big, that is bigger than me, that my children and my children's children are reaping from the investment that I'm making today. And so we are so grateful for Hope Room that we've been able to sponsor charities through Hope Room. We are doing different things in even different parts of the world. We are right now, we're in the middle of getting ready to help this church who was kind of devastated by a storm, and they lost their parking lot is like literally falling apart. And so
Oh,
because of the Hope Room, we're going to be able to send about $10,000 to this church just to build back their parking lot, because they're helping change the world. And because of their parking lot, they're serving their parking lot to the community, that this church is actually putting a full campus inside of a prison to be able to help and serve people. So we've been able to do some amazing things through Hope Room, and I'm delighted. What's up, Hope Room? What's up, my squad? I see y'all.
oh, I'm so happy. But let's also talk about your book. I don't want to miss out on that. And by the way, everything can be found on advanteshowers.org.
Yep.
EDVANTESHOWERS.org. And so let's talk about all things are possible, because I have the same mindset. All things are possible if you
Yeah.
desire them.
Yeah, so my book, All Things Are Possible. One, I wrote this when right before Sage was born. The book is dedicated to my daughter. Her name is Sage. You guys
She's
see, I
such a
love my
cutie.
daughter. She's the boss. She's so much the boss that one of the companies that I started last year is named after. It's Sage Industries. So she's the real boss. She signed my check. But but yeah, so all things are possible. One of my ministry slogan or my ministry statement is dream big, it's possible. We want people to be able to live outside of that dream, that we don't want you to just have a picture, because I believe this, that when we talk about the dreams, that dreams should inspire you. So you should get a picture of it so that you can create a want to for it. And that want to is what drives you into grasping and get it right. Because the word exposure, right? I believe that once you've been exposed, you'll never be unexposed, and God never exposed you to anything that He don't want you to have. So the reason He exposed you to it is because He actually wants it for you. And so, and I hope that
Mhm.
helps somebody that's watching when I say that. But I wrote this book to, one, talk about my life and the things and the trials that I was able to overcome, and then to show you strategies on how to overcome it and win in life by not getting down on yourself, and being the example to show the world that anything is possible. That if I was able to do it, then you're able to do it. And it's that cycle that creates in your mind.
I love that because it's so true that, as I share, we both have the same thing, that anything is possible if you want it, if you want it bad enough. And it's keeping your eye on the prize. You talked about a vision, taking a picture of it. I do vision books. So I have pages and pages of words and pictures of things that I want to bring into my world, broken down into categories. I mean, that's how I work on mine. And everybody does differently. But the point is when you're able to visualize it, when you see it, it imprints your mind with what it is you're looking to have, and you then move forward to achieve it with the
Yeah.
help of your team and your mentors and your coaches.
Yeah, and so one of the things I tell anybody, right? So if you're in the coaching arena or you're a speaker, I don't know if you're watching and you're a speaker or whatever, but in any arena, I believe this: people do never remember a person who does not become tattooed on their heart. If you want to survive in this industry, you must tattoo yourself to people's heart. So people are only going to remember statements and stories. So if you're not willing to tell your story, you will fail. If you're not really to give people sticky statements that when you say it, it grabs them and it pulls them out of their seat and it tattoos them to, like, I need to eat from the table that he's feeding from, then you're automatically going to fail and miss what is the possibility for your life. So notice even this framework of doing this podcast, there are some statements that I'm saying that are sticky because they're intended to be able to be tattooed on your heart to create that longevity memory. That's how you become a household name. That I want people that when they think of Edvante, they were like, I remember on that podcast, he said this. And so they create this as their mantra. And so they start telling people about it. So that's some of the things that.
I love that. I love the whole thing about being tattooed on your heart because people have to say, oh my God, I resonate with this person because of what he's sharing or because of what he's gone through and where he is today. Because I know that if he could do it, I can do it. And
Absolutely.
that's powerful.
You know, seeing an example of someone will do two things. Either it's going to produce hateration or inspiration. And some people become jealous of what they should be inspired by. And you have to be aware of that the stuff that I do is really for inspiration, but it sometimes comes with people that simply just don't. I don't like you just because your shirt is
You're
ugly,
successful.
whatever.
Or because you're successful, because you're up there and they want to be you, but and they can't get out of their own way. That's another reason that people do tend to go for the negative projection towards another individual.
Yeah. And you find in the arena, successful people are normally not jealous of each other. They're busy sharing their secrets to be able to help each other win. And I think that some of that is the framework of your circle. You got to understand that people in your life, either they are friends or they're fans. And so fans will cheer for you as long as you're winning. But friends will stick beside you even in the mud. That I'm the type of friend that if you're in the mud, I'm going to hand you a shovel and I'm going to give you strategy on how to get out. And then once you get out, I'm going to give you the place where you can shower and get yourself together. Now, notice I didn't say I was getting in the mud with you because it's not about getting in the mud. It's actually helping give you strategy to get out so that you'll never go back.
So what do you do when people resist the shovel? Because that'll happen. That they come to you, they want your help, but then they resist and push back on what you're trying to, the tools you're trying to give them, like the shovel. How do you deal with that?
I am the best person of the exit. I believe there's no way that you've given that you've not that there's not an exit created. And so learning how to exit a situation because people who are not willing to help themselves will never receive or get help in anything that they do. It is even written in the Bible that Jesus said that the greatest is not received in their own hometown. He told the disciples, when you're not received in your own hometown, you shake the dust off your feet and then you move on to the next one. You have too much invested in you to waste time on people who you're trying to help and then they're not willing to receive it. I'll give you one opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to give you this help and I'm going to give you this strategy. Whether you use it or not are up to you. But I can tell in the next 6 months whether you made the determination to accept it or not.
That's so powerful, and it's so true. And it's the adage of you can always bring a horse to water. You can't make them drink, but if they want it enough, they're going to drink, take it in, so that they can start moving on. I mean, come on, you walk your talk, you're tried and true, and you're not giving people anything you haven't done yourself.
Yeah. And so you got to realize that when you come into someone's life, your job, it should be to add value. And so when you start not adding value, then you become a liability to the people who you are surrounded by. And so if I want to come, if I'm going to be in someone's life and I'm going to be around them, my goal is that something I say or do will actually leave an impact to add value. So no matter what I do in Hope Room or whatever, the reason that people pay me to do what I do is my compensation is people's appreciation for the value that I add to their life. And so if you're adding value, you should be compensated according to the value that you add.
It's so true. It is so true. And I mean, you have a lot of experiences that you can offer, tried and true stories and examples. So it's not just something you've read that you've processed in the Edvante way and purged and it's some more projected on somebody else. You have done everything that you're asking somebody else to do, or you wouldn't be talking about it from such a authentic place.
Yeah. There's a writer who said that those of who are going to be left behind in the 21st centuries are those who are unwilling to unlearn and so that they can relearn, so that they can evolve in this next century. And so some behaviors you have to unlearn and then you have to relearn them so that you can evolve and make a better impact. So, and he said that these are people who have become illiterate. The reason you become illiterate because you're unwilling to unlearn your bad behaviors so that you can assume new behaviors so that you can win in the areas that you need to.
Yeah, it always breaks my heart when people refuse to even try. It's like tasting a new food, right? Taste it once. If you don't like it, you don't ever have to taste it again. You don't have to eat it ever again. But at least learn firsthand if you like it or you don't like it. If it's going to work for you or not going to work for you, and figure out how to tweak it. And I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, it really is. So all
Okay,
things are possible.
all things are possible, and I love that.
All
Well,
things are
because I
possible. Go
say the
get the
same
book.
thing. Go get the book. Check on AdvanteShowers.org. But it's charity shout out time. So, as people know who listen to the show regularly, every show at this time, I want to honor my guest by promoting a charity that's near and dear to your heart. And your particular charity is the Hope Room, something new, not for profit, to help and support and sustain people. So, I'm going to let you talk more about the Hope Room and how they can help in their
Yes.
contributions.
So the Hope Room is partnered. I have a 501c3 through Edvante Showers Ministry, and it's something that we use to strictly mentor future entrepreneurs to help them grow and develop in their skills. And what we do is we have these humanitarian endeavors that we've done, such as we partner with cities right now. Even if some of you guys never heard of Offsite Metal, which is owned by Rob Flink out of Charlotte,
Hmm.
they're partner with some low income homes. And so we're helping people get into low income homes and things of that nature by completely paying a couple months of their rent to move into the low income homes. We're doing things like helping churches and other nonprofits win in their everyday life by partnering them in different systems. So we're so excited. We do a lot of disaster relief efforts through this nonprofit. And this year, our hope is that we're able to buy a high school student a car as well as give away a scholarship to be able to help people in this time that can be so devastating to people, even when people are like, we're on the verge of recession. We are recession proof because of what we were able to mentor, build, and coach people with.
And also, there's no limitations. All the abundance is there. You just have to tap into it. So,
Absolutely.
so how can people help?
So this is how you can help. We always need hands, right? We believe that you can be the hands and feet of Jesus, is like we like to say it, but you can be the hands and feet on the ground that is able to help us. If that's someone that is watching and you say, "Hey, I'm the one who needed that help and that mentorship," you can partner with us by simply sending an email to info@advanteshowers.org. My team would love to assist you and serve you in every aspect possible that we can. Or maybe you said, hey, I'm in a financial state where I can make a donation to partner with them so that we can continue to serve the world. All you have to do is you can use the QR code that's in the top corner, or you can text the word Edvante to 77977. Again, that number is 77977. You can text the word Edvante as a keyword. There's a link there, and you can click on our Hope R Us, which is our toy market that we do to give away to kids. So every donation that is made there is given away to kids and toys so that they can be successful. And even if you donate directly into the Hope Room, that money is going to be used for disaster relief, scholarships, and things of that nature so that we can continue to change the world.
I love that. Thank you so much, Advante. I have a quick question. You have something going on in South Africa. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I have about three really big things going on in South Africa. One we really just talked about. Hopefully, that Pretoria, South Africa, which is actually the capital, will be getting a new airport that I'm partnered on, and I'm actually doing entire business development on making that happen. There in Pretoria. Recently for my birthday, some of you guys may have seen, but the king there, I was there actually doing a ministry event, and the king actually ended up in the service, him and his daughter, and I was able to pray over them and speak life to them. And for my birthday, as a gift, they gave me 8 hectares of land, and so that's about 20 acres in U.S. And so I'm actually going to build a shopping center that I named after my mother, but also I'm giving to my daughter as a legacy. So I'm going to build about a 15 unit shopping center there in South Africa. And then because of this endeavor, we've been able to partner with some other people, and we are getting ready to put a full out leadership school in South Africa. So we're actually currently raising the funding to be able to do that. But we're going to actually open the Edvante Hope Center there in South Africa, where we're strictly going to mentor and develop youth. And we're going to bring our program, which is called Amen, which stands for Adolescent Men Empowering Now. To that country to be able to serve them so that we can see future business owners and future endeavors so that what we do don't become a dying trade. So we're excited.
That is so exciting. Congratulations. And the amazing amount of people you're going to be able to help is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Keeping on
so
that
we're excited.
legacy.
So thank you all who are watching, who are partnering with us, who've decided to make that step to partner with us. Listen, I'll tell anybody, whether you give 10 cents or 10 million, all of it will be donated. It does not help me any. My companies pay for me, but we will use it for every endeavor we can to be able to help change the world and do something good in the world.
Wonderful. So I have another quick question. I want to go back to um, just other conversation, but how does spirituality help treat anxiety, depression, and addiction? Because I think that's really, really important.
So I think how spirituality. So I believe that God actually is the fulfillment of the gap. It takes more faith to not believe into something than to believe in something. And so I believe that when you put your faith into God, He fills the void and He actually comes in and steps in and He can feel what's missing. Most people who are addicts, they use a term in psychology called psychosomatic, that what they're thinking, they're ultimately going to become based upon their level of thought. And so most of them think maybe that smoking or drinking or whatever is filling the void of what's missing. But when all actuality is, you actually just need a refresher and find out who you are, and you find out who you are in God. There's nobody can tell you better who you are than the creator of that thing. So the guy who customized this tracksuit for me, he left a tag in it that told me how to wash it properly, right? And so I think that's the same thing with God, that if I want to know how to do it properly, Jesus left a tag here, which is the Bible, which is attached to us, that we should read, that should help grow and develop us and show us how to cleanse ourselves, how to become a better version of ourselves. And if you want to do something, but through experimentation, the Bible already gives you an example of experiments that have happened of what He can do with your life, no matter how bad your life is. And so it's not about your inadequacies. Ask Moses. He was able to bring the entire children of Israel out, even though he said, "Hey, God, I'm slow of speech. I have a speech impediment and I can't do well." Ask Gideon. He said that I'm the weakest in my tribe, but God put him in the wine press and he was able to save his entire city. Ask Nehemiah. When the wall came down, he said, "I could build this thing back. I don't have all the tools. I don't have the right people around me. My friends are crazy, but I still have the ability to do it." Even if you roll into the New Testament, you had friends around them. They had a man that was lame, brought him up to the roof, lowered him down to Jesus. Jesus said, "Because of your faith, because of not what you lack, but because you made a decision to climb up to the roof in front of all these people, bring your inadequacy to me. I'm going to heal you and I'm going to send you to change the world." That man later in the Bible becomes a millionaire due to the fact of he saw what he was inadequate in, brought it to God. God changed it and then used it for his good. And this is what I'm telling you: no matter how bad you think you are, no matter what area you think you're inadequate in, God used all of your inadequacies to do something great in your life. And I want to let you know you are never too inadequate not to be used by God. What you need is someone who will pour into you, speak life into you, and let you know that all things are possible. Anything that you set your mind to do, you will do, and you will win at it in this season.
It is, it's so true. And I love the passion behind the words because this is more than just speaking words. You are impassioned by all of it and helping. And, look at people get stuck in their depression and anxiety. They get stuck in their addictions, but you don't have to.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a life sentence.
absolutely. Listen. I got two real funny, quick little points I'll make here.
Please do.
So, um, I like to use this example. Listen, if you drop a plate, it'll shatter, right? If you drop a bag of flour, it'll lie dead. If you drop a rat, it'll run away. But each of the items will do what it does based upon the substance that it's made of. And so many people in life, people expect you to be like the plate and for you to shatter because you've went through a divorce. Your life seemed like it's shattering apart. Many people expect you to be like the flower because you've been drunk under a bridge and they expect you to just lie dead. And even many people expect you to be like the rat and to run away because you've been exposed in your failures. But I believe that you're built with the resilience of a basketball, that even after you've been dropped, you have the ability to rise to your highest apex and even go higher and further in life. I've learned this that they did a research on flies, and they took flies and put them in a jar and they put a lid on them and placed them in sunlight. The flies kept bumping their heads on the ceiling of the container. And so when they took the lid off and placed them in sunlight, the flies will only fly as high as 8 inches. But what they found out is that when a new fly flies in and he's introduced to the equation, he makes an alert to all the other flies that if I was able to come out, then you have the ability to come out. Now, flies have the ability and the trajectory to fly up to 36 feet in the air. So it took one person to be introduced into their life to let them know no matter how many times you bump your head on what people thought was the ceiling, you have the ability to build a bigger building. And I want to let you know that it doesn't matter how many times you bump your head. I don't care if you've been to jail, you've been to prison, you've lost sight of your vision. I don't care if you don't come from the right family background. There is nothing that is inadequate about you. Your parents may have been surprised about you, but God has never been surprised about you. You've always been the winner. You've been the fastest swimmer when you were born into this world. So there is something in you that have to swim and have to make the decision that I'm going to go further. If I've reached the glass ceiling, it's time for me to build a bigger building. Go after more because there is more in you. It's just these untapped gifts that you have allowed to lay dormant, and it's time for you to awaken the new you. So let's bounce back like the basketball and have a resilience to go further. Let's find friends that will introduce me to a new world and let me know that I have the ability to go higher, and I got to use all 36 of these feet to build my bigger building.
Bravo. I love it. That is really phenomenal. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. What have I not asked you about that you would like to share with everyone?
Let me, something that I think that people miss, even it doesn't matter if I'm doing Forbes or Yahoo Finance, whatever. I think there's some things that people miss is that um, my goal is to impact people more than impact the pocket. And I like to talk about things that actually is going to touch people, help people, love on people, and teach people that I got to take this next up to get to my next level. I think that sometimes media eliminates those things because they see them as failures, because it's all about how can I get the next dollar. I am not money driven. I am people driven. And so the people around me, I see that my best friend is here. Some of the people from the Hope Room is here. And there are people watching, and I know some of these these guys. Like I got friends that are here and there, and people in my hope room who are from Ohio, from Lafayette, Louisiana, from Belleville, Illinois. They're in Ain't Meat. They're in Philadelphia, and they're watching, and I'm looking at them comment. And one thing that I know that people follow people who do well and mean well. That I want to pour into people if I don't make money from it. People and love on people even when I seem like I'm being looked over, because my gift, no matter where I'm at, will work no matter what seat I'm sitting in. And I want to encourage you guys that you are way more talented than what you let the world see. One thing I found about Jesus is the stuff that we know about him is stuff that he said about himself. So if in our world, we call that arrogance. But the stuff that you only know about me is the stuff that people have heard or people have said about me. But the stuff that you know about Jesus came from his mouth, so it was factual information. And so this is what I want to tell you about me. I'm going to be great, and I'm going to go after everything, even if it makes people feel small. My job is to advance the kingdom of God as well as advance the legacy, because this is a season of the legacy run. Build your future, become great, and do it on purpose. It's okay to validate you.
I love that. And you are able to do it. You just have to have the right ingredients, like baking a cake, a good cake.
So look, get in one of my courses. Hop into the hope room. Let's connect. I would love to connect with all of you, whether you're connected to Dr. Marla, or are you connected to one of our programs, or you found us because a friend sent this to you. Do me a favor, share this podcast. Share it with someone that may need to hear what we're saying. Share it on YouTube, share it on Facebook. Let your Instagram followers know, hey, you need to hear this. This changed my life. Any information that you hide from other people, you are failing them. You're neglecting them and not giving them an opportunity to become better. When I read a good book, I send it to my friends because I want to see them become better. You have heard this podcast and it has impacted your life. You need to share it and let people know this has added value to me, because I want to add value to you.
Thank you so much, Edvante. I am so grateful that you're on here. And I have a feeling you're going to be back because you have so much wisdom to share with so many. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful we met and we're friends and you're in my life. And so thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you to the followers of Edvante and his friends who have tuned in and has written in throughout the show. The little messages are coming up. So grateful for each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to Bridget, my assistant. You're my right hand, my left hand. Thank you so much for all you do for me, for the show. Did I say for me? I'm so grateful for you. So thank you. And to all of the listening audience, thank you for taking time out of your day and out of your life to be a part of the show, because the show is done from my heart to yours to bring to you amazing people like Edvante with such powerful messages, information, guidance that you can incorporate into your life, or reach out to them and have them work with you, because these are amazing resources. Edvante Showers not only is an amazing human being, he's an amazing resource and can help you to get from where you are to where you want to be. Because what do they say, Edvante?
All
All
things are
things
possible.
are possible.
Hey, so
So
hey guys, I'm praying for you. I love you guys. If you guys haven't, you guys need to go follow the show. Whether you on YouTube, Facebook, fam, listen, go follow the show. Hit the like, hit the share button. Let people know that this is where I need to be. I'm praying for you guys. All right, we're forever praying for you guys because we love you. So
absolutely. Please tune in next week when my guest is Brian Ridgway, known as the Spell Breaker. And so we're going to talk about spells and breaking spells and all about him and all that he does. I also want to do a little PSA. If you're in that storm belt, please be careful. Please bring what you need in your car: blankets, water, food. If you travel with pets, blankets, water, food for the pets, because if you should get stuck for whatever the reason, make sure you have what you need to stay safe and warm. If you can find a can, one of those big old coffee cans or like tomato sauce pan, cans that are, I think, 128 ounces, something like that. Clean it out, dry it out, bring candles, bring matches, because that too will help you stay warm. You have to crack the windows. We don't want you dying of carbon monoxide poisoning, but it will help warm the car and save you petrol. So for all of you, please be safe. And as I leave you, I do as I always do. I send you love, blessings, and gratitude. So grateful that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. For not only are you my student, you are my teacher. Not only am I your teacher, I am your student. So thank you for that. And if you haven't heard these words today, let me say them to you. I love you. And if you have, know that not only the person who said them to you, your friends and family loving you, but there are so many beings on the other side of the veil that are your biggest cheerleaders. They love you. They want you to succeed. And they work in tandem with people like Edvante Showers in trying to get you to be in the place that you're divinely meant to be in. Um, but remember, they don't have free will. You have to ask. You have to ask for what you need, want, desire, whether it's support, help, guidance, information, whatever it is, and ask for it and then be open to how it comes to you, because it's not just going to be someone knocking on the door with the answer. It comes in very unique ways, so you need to be open and aware to how the messages will come to you. Okay, till next week, know you're loved, stay safe, stay well.